the production designer, Alan Spaulding, designed and created for us the most incredible set. It took hundreds of locals a few months to build what essentially is a small city. You know, you'd need a map to get through it, it's so large. We're able to film the temple, the streets of Jerusalem. We're able to film the marketplaces. It's filled with interiors of the stately home of Caiaphas and the palace of Pilate.
It's the largest freestanding set in Morocco. This set is giant. In fact, several times I got lost walking through the set. Very rarely do you create a world where the actors don't have anything other than the real thing. It feels like you're in ancient Jerusalem.
We're basically 20 minutes outside a desert town of Ouarzazate, and the set designers here are amazing because they've created Jerusalem, which is to the east of us, Pilate's Palace, which is to the north of us, and behind us here we have the temple, and the sets are wonderful. I've been in the industry a long time now, and these sets are as good as anything I've worked on. They're really impressive.
Have you ever stared into a man's face as you thrust a sword into his guts?
I have, actually. Right here in this palace.
They've had over 500 crew members, builders working on this set round the clock, working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to try and get this built on schedule. Here we are in this amazing set, which I know we only broke ground on in May, the middle of May. It's now the middle of September, and look at this place. How big is it?
Well, it's 9,000 square meters, which is about 30,000 square feet.
30,000 square feet in 3 months.
We built Pilate's Palace as a large composite set with courtyards and interiors. Often what one would do would you build the exteriors in the landscape, but you put the interiors into a studio. But we did make the positive decision that all of the sets would be light locations, so that you could develop from the exterior, go into the interiors, and the feeling of a real place and a real world.
But you never know what could happen.
We've been given what we wanted. Let's just be grateful and...
It's slightly more complicated to shoot that way because you can't obviously have walls that come out and ceilings that come out to get the lights in, but it's more like location shooting rather than standard studio shooting.
And he had no weapons on him?
None.
You checked the sacrifices, all his baskets?
There was nothing.
Well, maybe he really did come to visit the temple.
As grand as this palace is, with all of these columns around, you won't believe it, but we're really kind of in the middle of nowhere. And if you come outside, you'll see that we are in the middle of the Moroccan desert. Look at this. Huh? Isn't this extraordinary? And all around here are these incredible vistas and landscapes.
It's an amazing thing to film in a set that's been built in the middle of a desert, a vast, epic desert. You can walk 5 minutes from the set and just look around and see completely unspoiled desert as far as you can see. It's really incredible to give you a perspective, and that's very helpful. It's incredibly humbling.
We have the snow-capped Atlas Mountains, which are right here in the background. We have to avoid those, of course, because they didn't have snow-capped mountains in the Holy Land. But further down this road, we have created 2 extraordinary sets. One of them is the temple, the Holy Temple in Jerusalem.
I would like to welcome you to the temple. This is the home of the Sanhedrin and the centerpiece for the Jewish faith, and it is a scaled-down reproduction of the actual temple. These are the steps from which we filmed the condemnation of Jesus.
The charge is blasphemy. He deserves to die!
You look around and everybody is dressed in their robes, and it doesn't require much acting, especially in a set as magnificent as this.
We both kneel before God.
and pray for his blessing. The rest, merely details.
Nobody really knows what it looks like. There's a lot of speculation and a lot of different drawings and all. So I took different elements from different ones and actually made it smaller than it was supposed to be.
This is the court of the Israelites. This is the inner sanctum of the temple. At Passover, I think 20,000 animals a day would be sacrificed here. And you'll note that this trough running across the full length, which kind of demarcated the point at which non-priests had to stop. Only temple priests were allowed to cross this line. And it's actually a gully to collect the blood of the sacrifice.
This space was more or less a marketplace because that's where people had to buy the animals to sacrifice.
And Alan, how many people, like for some of these high holidays, how many people would have descended upon Jerusalem?
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, right? If you can imagine people coming from these rural areas, right, from little villages and towns around, coming in here, it must have just seemed extraordinary to them.
To you, Lord, I call. You are my rock. Do not turn a deaf ear to me, for if you remain silent, I shall be like those who go down to the pit.
Inside the doors here is the Holy of Holies, which is the sacred room in which, in the first temple, the Ark of the Covenant was kept, which contained the Ten Commandments. But now, since the temple was destroyed and then rebuilt, it's actually a bare room, and the only person who's allowed access into that room is Caiaphas, the high priest, who is allowed in there once a year, only on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. So this is the heart of the temple.
We built the Jerusalem streets as a real place as much as possible, and it was deliberately designed to be claustrophobic and tight so that you weren't quite sure where you were, so it was very hard for the viewer to get the geography of the city. It was quite a deliberate decision.
Nazarene fellows have been seen in this area. Where are they? Speak! Take them away. Break it down.
The buildings within that street set are real and built real. Some of them 2 stories high, some of them quite extensive, floor plans. So you can go from the outside streets into the inside buildings.
Are you Peter?
I am.
Please come.
See, when you go on sets, a lot of the time there's, doors and windows that are fake or they don't really lead to anything. In our set, it's all real. You open a door and it's a real room that you could use for shooting. The windows all work, everything works.
Peter, we need to tell people about this. We should go to the temple.
No. It makes the job a lot easier because you don't have to suspend your disbelief too much.
They've built like an entire city. I think when we leave here, people are going to move into that city and just live there. It's inhabitable.
This is crazy how they this attention to detail and
I've been very fortunate to be on a handful of film sets, but none like this one. It's massive to see all of the sets that have been built all around here, and the attention to detail is unbelievable.
So the disciples need a place to stay and to keep safe. We call it the safe house, and it's just straight along this way here. So if you'd like to follow me this way, I'll show you some more. We're now in the center of the safe house. And as you can see, there's lots of very authentic looking windows, even a ceiling that is built. And to my surprise, I've just come up here, I haven't been up here for a while, there is actually a body of the first martyr, which is Stephen. And my character, I remember, sits here and cleans Stephen's body, which was the actual actor, Reese, who played Stephen. The poor guy had to sit there all day, virtually naked, emotional stuff, hard stuff to reproduce, I think, all day, and very hard for the guy sitting here all day as well. Here we are at the top of the safe house, and if you can look out, you can see all the rooftops of our Jerusalem, and over there you can see the Second Temple, which is lovely and clean as opposed to downtown Jerusalem where we are here. I've had lots of lovely scenes here. Some particular ones that come to mind are with my daughter, where you have youth showing you the way forward and innocence giving you guidance.
What would he do if he were here?
He'd pray.
Part of the reason why I love this show is that it is huge in the epic biblical sense of old Hollywood movies. When you go on the sets, it reminds me of Cleopatra, which I think was made in the 60s, with these huge, amazing temples. Between the production designers, they really are creating art, so it's absolutely thrilling to be a part of that.
It's always nice when you walk onto a set and all the detail is done for you and months of prep have gone into making a world for you to act against, you know. And that's definitely the case on this. It's been fantastic to be able to walk around between takes and to get a feeling of what it might have been like during this time period.
Was there ever a prophet they didn't persecute?
Enough!
I think America are going to be blown away by the scale and the vision of our first century Jerusalem world. The sets are massive, they take up acres and acres. They are just so painstakingly realistic that you actually feel like you're in a living and breathing town.